the Muskego Norway School District Board of Education. Verification of the meeting posting. This meeting was posted in accordance with the open meetings law. Attendance, roll call.
Mrs. Blair.
Here.
Mrs. Boyer.
Here.
Mrs. Baus.
Here.
Mr. Hyde.
Here.
Mr. Bowman.
Here.
Mr. Buckmaster.
Here.
We have all 7 present. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Item D, Pledge of Allegiance. Mrs. Baus, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mrs. Baus. Item E, approval of agenda. Motion is in order.
So moved.
Brett,
Second.
any discussion on the agenda presented? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved as presented. Item 2, consent agenda. Motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or item on the consent agenda that needs to be pulled for individual consideration? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda in gross signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Item 3, student representation. Ashley.
Hello, everyone. So on the high school level, the Crystal Ball Winter Dance was this past Saturday, from 7:30 to 10:30. And during the ticket sales in the previous weeks, any donations and some of the proceeds from the dance actually went to a 9-year-old girl named Harlow who is recovering from leukemia. And before the actual dance, there was a sensory-friendly dance for the Best Buddies Club. On February 5th, 5 seniors signed scholarships. Shane Dunning signed to Drake University for football. Ethan Jokey signed to Minnesota Duluth for football. Jacob Lashinsky signed to Winona State for football. Grace May signed to UWM for swim. And Richard Lauer signed to Concordia St. Paul for football. On the 6th, Student Council collected donations in their first and second hour classes for the wildlife crisis in Australia. This week, NHS is selling candy grams during all lunches, and all the proceeds are donated to Make-A-Wish Foundation. Student Council blood drive signups are going on all this week during lunches, and the actual blood drive is on the 14th during school hours. FBLA had their regional leadership conference on February 1st. SNHS is having their Hearts in Motion drive, which is a competition between all the Spanish classes to see who can collect the most school supplies and toiletries, and all of the supplies collected go to Guatemala. Tomorrow there is a JV 1 and 2 and varsity boys basketball game, and a JV 1, 2 and varsity girls basketball game. Also, Muskego Lakes would like you guys to know that they are selling candy grams during their lunches via the Student Council, and the 5th grade DARE graduation is on February 27th. Are there any questions?
What's coming up in a couple weeks at the high school?
I'm not sure.
The play, right?
Play's coming up soon.
Yeah,
I
next
think
weekend,
it's the
right?
dates, the 20th and the 21st, and then the 28th and 29th. And I think ticket sales are still going on, but they are going fast. So I would get yours.
Got it.
All right, any other questions?
Thank you, Ashley.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Item 4, President's Report. Thank you to all 7 of us who have completed our roadmap survey. When CISA 6 is complete or has finished compiling the results, they'll forward that to me, and we'll have a discussion on that. So thank you. Item 5, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Thompson.
Well, it's my pleasure to introduce Sarah Stanley, who will be leading her team through the presentation for Bay Lane's annual report to the board. So that's there. As Sarah gets things set up, just the next 2 items are just reminders of our contribution to the profession, and then the closing the achievement gap. All of us have been registered by CARI, so we'll be attending on the date listed there, which is March 10th. So just an FYI. So Sarah, whenever you, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm out of town that week, so I'm not
I should not be on the list for that.
Okay, we'll
But,
get
yeah.
you off.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
just didn't want you to pay, and yeah, I'll
Yep,
be
no
out of town.
problem. Okay.
Yeah.
And you want to be.
Okay, so you
We'll
can just,
swap.
there you go.
We'll swap you. Thanks for checking that, Cassandra. Okay. All right, and now you can take it away, Sarah. Thank you.
All right, well, let's start with some thank yous. The school board and district leadership for your time and your attention tonight. We have to recognize our custodial staff and Tahar for taking very good care of us. Ms. Brum and the fourth grade choir for their performance. I'd like to thank our Bay Lane Learn team. It's our I Am the Goal leadership team of teachers and staff for their school leadership, as well as the students, staff, and families that are with us tonight. So Bay Lane Elementary, a place where we believe, learn, and empower. We believe in the strength of community, we learn with a mindset of growth, and we empower positive change. Bay Lane had an exciting first year where we are very happy to have set a high bar for ourselves by achieving the state's highest report card rating of significantly exceeds expectations. We believe in working smarter, not harder, and I'm not going to read all of this to you, but the work that we're doing this year aligns with our district's initiatives. I'm going to give you an abbreviated version in the form of acronyms, which we love here. So to build an understanding of critical math practices, we are identifying SOAPs, Standards of Focus. To inform our instruction, we are writing CFAs, Common Formative Assessments. To grow our practices, we have identified PPGs, Professional Practice Goals. And to collaborate, we work as PLCs, Professional Learning Communities. What this looks like in reality is this somewhat messy looking document on display behind you. It is all of the state standards for math in Wisconsin, kindergarten through fourth grade, that we have picked out the SOFs, the Standards of Focus, honed into one area, and worked to be strategic and vertical across grade levels. At Bay Lane, we've committed to 100%. That is, every student will demonstrate proficiency in the grade level selected standard that we are focusing in on. However, you don't need to hear about the math that we're teaching our students from the teachers, or certainly not the principal. What better people to share what we're learning about than the students? So for kindergarten, most of our little kindergartners are getting ready for bed right now, so we opted to go with a video to represent our kindergarten crew.
We've been working on putting two groups together to make one. 9 and 1 makes 10 altogether. We've been learning to make a number in many ways. 4 and 2, 3 and 3, 5 and 1.
So there you have it. Deconstructing numbers is actually not as easy as it might seem to us, so kudos to our kindergartners. Next up, we have a first grade representative to talk to us about first grade. Ridley, can you go right here? Or you can talk good right there. You good with that?
Tonight I'm going to show you how we solve word problems in first grade. First, we read the story and we identify the key details that will help us to solve the problem. We underline who and the what is a story about we circle what we are trying to find out. Next we can use math drawings or tools to help us solve the problem. Then we retell the story using a number sentence. We always use a symbol like a question mark, blank, or a box to represent the unknown in the story. Last, we find out the solution. The solution is the answer to our question. We always label our solution, and then we read the problem and make sure that our solution makes sense and matches the question.
All right, thank you, Brinley. I should have shared, our kindergarten students were from Miss Gunther's kindergarten class. The first grade classroom was represented by Mrs. Benedict. And next, we have 2 second grade representatives tonight. We're going to invite Mrs. Drifka's student Kate up for our super second grade presentation. Okay. Are you good here?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is a number line, and this one is a 2-digit number line. And I started at 49, and I plus a 10 to go to 59. Then I plus another 10 to go to 69. Then I used a 1 to go to 70. Then I used 5 more to go to 75. And my landmark numbers were 60, 50, and 70 because they helped me find other numbers. And then I started at 85 here, and I minus 20 to get to 65, and I minus 10 to get to 55. Then I minus 5 more to get to 50. Then I minus 2 more to get to 48. And my landmark numbers were 60, 70, and 80. And then I did a 3-digit number line, and I started at 326, and I plus 200 to get to 526, and I did 20 more, and then I got to 546, plus 4 more is 550, plus 1 more is 551, and then 600 minus 423 is I started at 617, and I minus 400 to get to 217, then I minus 10 more to get to 207, and I minus 10 more to get to 197, then I minus 3 more to get to 194.
So when we studied our wiring documents, one of the things that we uncovered is that if second grade hones in and focuses in on this number line work, we are really setting our 3rd and 4th grade learners up to tackle some really challenging fraction work that we feel like is an ongoing challenge for us. So we have another second grade representative. There you are. You ready? Okay, let's do this. You want to use the microphone? Okay, and just let me know if I haven't moved your thing. Why don't you stand? There you go. Okay, here we go. Gordon. Yep, anytime, Gordon.
This is what we are learning in second grade math. Start with 82 because it is the highest number. Then put the point on the number line. Next, you make a jump of 10. I know 82 plus 10 equals 92. The point on the number line are equally spaced. Last, you make a jump of 8. I know 2 plus 8 equals 10. So then 92 plus 8 equals 100. 100 is a next decade number and landmark number. So I know 82 plus 18 equals 100.
And next, we're going to have our third grade representative, Johnny, come up. And Vanna for Johnny, aka Mrs. Routman. Whenever you're ready, Johnny. Is that a good fit for you? You good?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Johnny and I am in Miss Routman's third grade class. Before I start my presentation, here are some important mathematical terms I have learned along the way. Unit shares. Unit shares means a fraction with the numerator of 1. Partition. Partition means to split a shape into equal parts. Shares means the different parts. Equivalency means that it's equal, and quantity means the area on the inside. Our fraction unit started with understanding that a fraction is a number. I know a fraction is a size and quantity just like a whole number. In our first bend, we focused on partitioning shapes into unit fractions. We then partitioned fraction strips, and this tool helped me recognize and compare size and equivalency. We are currently in our second bend. I am using what I know about unit fractions and partitioning the strips into equal shares to name a fraction on a number line and to explain how a fraction is a quantity between 0 and 1. And now I have a question for the school board members. The unit fraction above is labeled as 1 share of size 1/3. What is the length from points A to point C? Explain your answer below.
Chris?
Well, it's a half.
This is the engineer. Let's go.
Well, let's see
Anybody
here.
know the answer?
Can I go back to school with you?
It's a half, right?
Well, the answer is 2/3 because between A and B that is 1/3, and then between B and C is another 1/3, and if you add those two together, you get 2/3.
Voila.
Very good.
So, just to be clear, the students completely did these presentations themselves. Maybe a little help from teachers. I had nothing to do with that. Next up, we have our fantastic fourth grade. I don't know if you noticed, but these pictures that we're using, they're from banners that we used during our Spirit Walk. The PTO helped sponsor that, and so huge thanks to our PTO. But we're going to close the night out with a couple of topics from fourth grade, and we have Luca here to support that. Where are you? There you are. Okay. Do you want to use the microphone? Yeah? Good. Do you need to stand by the board, or then can you just talk loud from there? You good? Okay. Oh, sorry. There you go. If we can't hear you, we'll let you know.
In fourth grade, we were learning about unit fractions, and a unit fraction is just like a building block of all different fractions. And in a unit fraction, if you're trying to find a unit fraction of a number, it would be the same denominator and a 1 as a numerator. And an example of a unit fraction, like a unit fraction for 4/7 is 1/7. And another thing we learned about is benchmark fractions. And a benchmark fraction is a fraction that you can count like up or down from to get your answer. A benchmark fraction is usually like 1/2 or 1/4. So if you're comparing fractions, it's easy to find the half so that you can figure out which one is bigger. We also learned about comparing fractions, and comparing fractions is just like comparing whole numbers. If the fractions have different denominators, it is easy to figure out if it is greater than, equal to, or less than a half. And an example is 5/6 is greater than 1/3, and 2/5 is greater than 4/5. And equivalent fractions are fractions that have different denominators but are still equal. And an example of that would be 1/3 is equal to 2/6, 1/2 is equal to 2/4, or 2/8 is equal to 4/16. And another thing we've been learning about in art is parallel and perpendicular lines. So a parallel line.
Do you want to show your video? Or do you want to talk first? The video. That's why you made it. So the canvas is behind you. Each of our 7 fourth grade classes owns a canvas. 2 classes are studying parallel lines and perpendicular lines. 2 classes, is it 2? Where's Shar? Where are you? Is it 2, 2, and 3?
3.
So which one is 3?
Line segment.
I should have asked the board. That could have been a challenge to have them look. And so yes, anyways, the kids are studying it, and Luca prepared a very creative video to teach you a little bit about what his class is like. Trying to get the lights. I'm looking at the screen out there. You ready?
Hello there, I'm Steve. I'll be teaching you about parallel and perpendicular lines. And what better place to talk about it than Minecraft? It's full of lines. So, first, let's talk about parallel lines. Take it away, Perry. Hello, I'm a set of parallel lines. Oh, and my name is Perry. You might already know this, but I'm everywhere. Parallel lines are just 2 lines that never meet. Here are a few of my parallel friends. Well, now it's Perpin's turn. Hello, everybody. I'm Perpin the perpendicular line, and I'm everywhere too. I'm there, and there, and there, and there, and there. Perpendicular lines are simply just lines that intersect at a 90-degree angle. These are a few of my perpendicular friends. Well, there you have it, folks. See you next time.
So this concludes the student portion of our presentation. One thing I do want to do is just ask the Baylane staff members that are here today if you could just please stand just so we can recognize you guys. So these are the representatives that we have with us tonight. So big thanks to them. Can you do it with us? And then it's just if you guys have any questions for those people that just stood.
Oh, good work.
What's
How'd
better?
they do?
Good.
Did it. Very nice job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you very much to the students. And that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. Moving on, other reports, board member reports.
I do.
Brett? Go ahead.
I do have a presentation if you like.
Absolutely.
All right. I don't know if she can pull it up. Can you pull it up?
Okay.
Somebody pull it up.
This
Well, while they're pulling it up, can I just
Can I send a note to
mention
her,
something?
just to Sarah, a card for these two?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chris?
Pardon?
While they're pulling it up, I'll
Yep.
just mention something, what I was going to say.
Please.
Let me pull it up here real quick. Sorry.
Is that the WASP?
No, not that one. I sent you guys a letter. On Tuesday, the 25th, there's going to be a human
It's on there,
trafficking
John.
awareness presentation at Whitnall High School. from 6:30 to 6:30 to 7:30. I'm hoping that this isn't something like we had several years ago with the opioid epidemic, where it kind of caught us by surprise, where all of a sudden there is an issue out there. So I'm planning on attending to see what is happening with that issue right now. So.
I'm sorry, I missed the, are you talking about the traffic?
Human trafficking,
Yeah.
yes.
So that is actually a presentation that's supported by the Whitnall Park Rotary.
Yes.
And so if there's interest, they'll support any other community that's supported by Whitnall Park, which Muskego is part of. So it's Muskego and Greenfield, Greendale, and the Whitnall School District area. So, yeah, absolutely. That's great that you're able to make it. Yeah.
All right, I'm done.
And, thank you. Oh, was that it?
That was it for me, yes.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Blair.
Just put something together because we were at the conference and kind of just put together a little presentation of all the things that we did. So I really enjoyed, what was it, Tuesday night when we had our little Equality and Excellence for All meeting. One of the things that they had shared was this demonstration up here with the plants, that not every plant needs everything that's the same. One of the things that we use at the hospital is more the lower one, where we just want to eliminate all the problems, like anything that would be occlusive and not being able to have equality for all. So I thought it was kind of, it's so interesting to me how there's so many similarities between healthcare and education. So that's kind of fun to go through that. And then I went to a vaping in service that was at 8 o'clock. I thought it was really good, their presentation that they gave. This Abby Rose from the Catch Global Foundation showed up and talked about, and also from CISA 10, talked about a program that's free of charge because it's put through CBS Foundation. So the CBS Pharmacy funds this. And they have 12 lessons that are set up online, so they are constantly updating them, so they're pretty current. They're 35 to 40 minutes long. The one lesson that I thought was kind of cool was they had a refusal lesson. So like if a kid was being pressured about vaping, how do you refuse not to vape? Which I thought that was kind of cool. They have training videos for the teachers and stuff, and they are now saying that the biggest deterrent is having Julian detectors and having signage. So that was kind of the takeaway from that presentation. Then of course the exhibit hall, who can't miss that. Did you try the operation game? You could like actually win. I was loving it. They actually buzz like as you touch the sides of it and stuff, you could win things. But I kind of hit on all the places that we kind of use. I didn't really kind of venture off except for when I got to the Connect Academy. I tried to like put his name out as much as possible to all these organizations, so I hope that they kind of connect with him because they were really looking into like futuristic jobs and things that are out there. So hopefully he gets some contacts through some emails coming forth. Then we had the general session, which started off with this presentation, which I thought was pretty good. Brett was up on stage and we got to hear or have him present some awards, so that was pretty cool. Then I went to the also within the general session was Scott talked about technology and how it's being innovated into classrooms. And I thought his story about how they measure the shark in the ocean, like how do you measure a shark if you're like in a cage? These kids came up with this laser measuring device so that they could do it while they're in the water. I thought that was pretty cool. And then Martha's blog, I thought that was the funniest thing. So she created, this girl in Scotland took pictures of her lunches every day and rated them. And according to the rate, she had a food meter, she had a health rating, and then of course how many pieces of hair was in food, which is terrible. But it was kind of interesting because of this blog, she had all these other schools interacting and sending them pictures of their meals, and it was just really kind of a neat interactive type teaching tool that she used within her class, so I thought that was pretty cool. Then I went to his second talk on school models that foster deeper student learning and engagement. And it was really kind of cool. They had a graphic recorder while he talked during the whole presentation, and she drew this whole like outline. And I thought, well, I wonder if that's something that would be kind of cool to actually incorporate in some of our classrooms, where kids that are more visual learners can take that away from the classroom instead of just always lecturing and listening. And that I thought it was pretty neat. And then I went to the Future Ready Schools requires Future Ready boards. And this lady was from Board Docs, so obviously she was, pushing the Board Docs. But one of the things she did say was that we should be moving away from the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, and moving into the 4 C's, which was communication, critical thinking, collaboration, creativity. So those should be the things that should be incorporated. And then she said the most dangerous phrase that in the language is, we've always done it that way. So we should try to get away from that setting. And then I went to the Creating a Safe Environment for Students, and they started off by showing this video, which I thought was quite...
This year, my mom got me the perfect bag for back to school.
These helpful binders help me stay organized.
These headphones are just what I need for studying.
These new sneakers are just what I need for the new year.
This jacket is a real must-have.
My parents got me the sneaker I wanted. It's pretty cool. These scissors really come in handy in our class. These colored pencils too. These new socks? They can be a real lifesaver.
I finally got my own phone to stay in touch with my mom.
So it was pretty shocking to start off with the video, but then they went into a lot of great things that the biggest thing that they kind of took away from what they've learned in their community is that they've really bonded with the police department, the fire department, and then the emergency management in Rock County. They also are members of the WSSCA. He talked about putting 3M film over windows, which I guess helps with shattering of glass. He said you should always have ready go messages already in Infinite Campus, always send that out. And then also that we should always plan for emergency preparedness during extracurriculars, and they even talked about how the WIA has a link already available of how to incorporate that in your school, which I thought was pretty cool. I'm going to do my plug again. I hope again next year we can get somebody in the art show. The girl that won, she did a phenomenal job. But I really do want our art people in there because I think we would represent them well. And then finally, this was just a video that the speaker, Scott McLeod, talked about the future in education. So I thought I'd share that with you guys so that you could see what's going to be coming in the future. no, I thought it was a great movie to show. I mean, yes, there are some jobs that are going to be replaced by technology, but all that technology has to be programmed by somebody, has to be coded, you know, all that creates jobs. And I think we need to remember that that may be where our future is headed with some of our education that we're giving the kids. That's my summary.
Thank you, Tracy. And Brett, thank you for sending your national conference email out. I appreciate the detail and doing it beforehand. There was enough there, so I appreciate
That's why
that.
there was
So,
plenty going on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other board member reports? Hearing none, there are no committee reports. Item 7, resolution action items, we have none. Item 8, budget discussion, standing item. No comment on that. Item 9, information follow-up. Any items there? Board has comments, follow-up on? Have none either. There is no communications and miscellaneous business. Item 10, vote for closed session. Vote for closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.85 sub 1 sub e for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the investing of public funds or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, specifically before and after school contracts, construction management, and architectural contracts. Motion is in order to go into closed session.
I motion.
Any discussion? None. Roll call vote. Mr. Schrader for closed session.
Mrs. Blair?
Yes.
Mrs. Boyer? Mrs. Bouse? Mr. Hyde?
Yes.
Mr. Bowman? Yes. Mr. Buckmaster?
Yes.
I'm in yea, 7 to go in.
Thank you, Mr. Schrader. Having 7 yea, motion to go into closed session is passed. This board will be going into closed session. We will only be coming back into open session to adjourn. No action will be taken outside of that. This time, the board will be going into closed session. Are we going to?
Library.
Okay.